Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jackie. I hope you hit that subscribe button to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Happy spooky season, everyone! So I am going to be doing a repeat of a video that I did last year, which was my witchy rom-com reading vlog. At least I can say it a little better this year, so I'll link that video down below in the description, and I think the icons here, I might be wrong, but I'll link it for you. So I read 6 witchy rom-com books last year, and I have so many to get through that I knew I wasn't going to get through my whole TBR. This year I have so many more. So I have some that are repeats from last year, some that are still on my TBR behind me, and then some new ones, and then some continuations of series from last reading vlog that I did last year. Of course, I had to dress in the witchy spirit. I have my witch's hat that I got last year. I only break it out to wear for these reading vlogs, and I thought wearing all black is a witchy thing. So I am going to do the random generator thing that I did in my weekly thriller vlog. I used a Google random generator on my phone and it picked out the reading order. I thought we could do that together. So let me assign the books that I'm reading numbers. I have the books scattered all in front of me. So I have one Kindle Unlimited book, and then the rest are just physical paperback books that I already own. I want to get through some of them, and I know I have so many more to go. I don't know why I keep buying more, but I do love this genre. Problem is, I only like reading it in October. So we have my book stack right here, and I'll just list the numbers. Book number 1, book number 2, book number 3, book number 4, book number 5, book number 6, and lastly, book number 7. Now we have each book assigned a number. Let's do the random generator. I'm going to move to one side so I could put the screen recording of what I'm going to do right there, so you can watch along and see what numbers come first. So let me go find the number generator first. Random number generator. Okay, let's start recording. Okay, we have 7 books because I want to do one more than I did last year. Last year I did 6. This year we're going to do 7, and hopefully I can do 1 a week. So we have the minimum 1 and the maximum 7. So we are going to press generate. Number 5 is book number 1. Book number 1 is number 2. 516. Am I going to remember this? 516 3 7. No, we already did 1. We already did 7. We already did 3. I think book number 4 is next. Did we do all of them yet? 2. No, we didn't do book 2. I think we did all the numbers. Now I'm just going to watch that back, and then we'll do the order, and I'll show you what the book order is. Okay, I just watched that back, and the order is 5 1 6 3 7 4 2. So that is the books that I'm going to read. I'm going to look back at the clip and figure out which book was which, because I forgot that too. I should have wrote all this down, but my poor planning. Excuse that. But this is more fun. It's random, right? Book number 5 is going to be our first book that we read, and that is What You Gonna Do by Avery Flynn. So the synopsis of this is, could it possibly get any worse than having absolutely no magical abilities when you're a member of the most powerful family of witches ever? It used to be that I'd say no, but then I keep getting set up on dates with Gil Connolly, whose hotness is only matched by his ego. Seriously, I can't stand him. Even if I also can't stop thinking about him, specifically kissing him. But we're going to pretend I never told you that part. So yeah, my life isn't that greatest right now. But then it goes straight to the absolute worst hell when I accidentally make my sister's spell glitch and curse my whole family. And the only person who can help non-magical me break that spell, you guessed it, Gil, the super hot jerk. Now we have to work together to save my family and outmaneuver some evil-minded forces bent on world domination. Oh yeah, and we have to do all that while fighting against the attraction building between us. Because I may not be magical, but what's happening between Gil and I sure feels like it. That sounds pretty interesting. So yeah, what I get from this is she's not magical. Her whole family is like witches, and then he's like a super hot witch, or is it warlock? I think like male witches are warlocks, but the cover looks really good. It sounds interesting. So I guess it's an enemies to lovers, and it says it's like super spicy, a new spicy romantic comedy series. So yeah, this is the first book. Let's get reading this. Hello, so as you can see, I'm still in the same setup, same everything. It's because I started this reading vlog before I did the intro. So I took off my witch's hat and we're going to talk about Witchy Gonna Do by Avery Flynn. I finished it, I guess last night, I believe, and I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. I mean, I enjoyed it, the plot points. It was pretty spicy, but I don't know, something was just missing. I don't know what it is. It was a pretty good read. I did enjoy it. I don't know why I gave it a 3 stars. It was a standard witchy book. Good plot. Love Gil, he was fun. And then Tilda, she like was powerful and did her thing, and I really enjoyed reading about it. I gave it a 3 stars. I'm not going to justify it. It is just my honest opinion. So yeah, gave What You Gonna Do by Avery Flynn 3 stars. And now we can move on to the next book, which I believe is What the Hex by Jessica Clare. So I started, I think, until chapter 5 last night, and I'm going to spend today reading that, and then we'll move on and you'll just see my different thoughts. So well, the next clip, the second book that we're reading is book number 1, surprisingly. So 1 didn't go first, it went second. So this is What the Hex by Jessica Clare, and this is actually number 2 of the book that I read last year, Go Hex Yourself. So it's like in the same universe and it's like the same series. So I'm really excited for this one because I really loved the first one and it was just so cute. So let's read the synopsis for this book. Enemies to Lovers has never been more enchanting than in this witchy romantic comedy. Penny Roundtree wants nothing more than to be a familiar to a witch. She's been a member of the Society of Familiars ever since she was old enough to join the fam. There's just a small problem. No one's hiring. Witches and warlocks are so long-lived that there are far more familiars available than witches to train them. So when the unorthodox agreement to apprentice under the table to a forbidden warlock presents itself, she takes it. William Sawyer is banned from having a familiar due to past transgressions, thereby limiting his magic casting abilities. Unfortunately for the Shirley Prussian warlock, he has no choice but to work with enthusiastic Penny as a familiar. They immediately clash like dried roan horsehair and honeycomb gathered by moonlight. It's a terrible spell combination, ask anyone. Casting spells has been delightful perks Penny never could have dreamed of, but also greater dangers. Someone is targeting Penny. William and Penny must work together to catch their enemy, and if their ploy requires a little kissing on the side, who are they to question the rules of magic? Interesting, and I hope that we see the characters from the first book. I think, if I'm remembering it right, it's Reggie, and I forgot I think, yeah, the guys are the witches in this, so not the females. It's warlocks in this is like the main witch, so that's really interesting. This one is Enemies to Lovers, and I feel like I read somewhere that it's fake dating too, so it sounds interesting. So let's read the second book in this witchy reading vlog. Let's talk What the Hex, shall we? So I read What the Hex by Jessica Clare, and I gave it 4 stars. I finished it today while I was doing laundry. So they're fixing the laundry room right next to me, and usually I can just watch it from my apartment, but I have to go to a different laundry room, so I had to camp out there just in case because I didn't trust this one. It's still on the same apartment complex, but I packed a bag, I packed some snacks, a water bottle, and my book and my Kindle, and I finished reading this while I was waiting for my laundry to get done. So yeah, I guess I just need to do laundry to like motivate me to just sit there and read because I couldn't do anything. Like, I mean, I could have sat on my phone, but why not read? So let me get to the book. So this one was just as good as the first one. I thought it wouldn't be, but it did. Very spicy. I forgot how spicy these ones can be. So if you like a very witchy, spicy book, this is definitely for you. It was really fun to read. I loved the characters in this. So Willem and Penny. I keep on saying William in my head, but I look on the back, it's Willem. So I'm gonna say Willem, even though I've been calling him William throughout this whole entire thing while reading it. So good thing I looked at it before I told you because I would be saying William. It's Willem. And of course, she calls him Will. And he's a very grumpy guy, grumpy warlock. So just like the first one, him and I think Ben was his name, is the warlock in this world. And Penny is a familiar, so she gets to work for him under the table and things ensue. He's a very grumpy guy who has been punished. He can't have a familiar with him, so he does it under the table with Penny, and they have to fake date at first, and then you know what happens next. And it was a really good book. I gave it a 4 stars. I loved reading it. Really fast paced, really spicy, really good. So yeah, this was the second book I read in this witchy vlog. Now we're moving on to my Kindle read. So for book number 3, we have number 6. So that's what the random number generator said. So that is the Kindle book. So in my thriller vlog, I put the Kindle book as last, but I was like, I'm gonna switch it up. But I ended up putting it second to last. So book number 6 is The Modern Girl's Guide to Magic, and since I don't have the physical copy of this one, I'm just gonna read the synopsis off of Goodreads. Here's the deal. I'm a magical disaster, a witch from a family of witches and the only one whose magic blows up in her face. Which is why I came up with my rules. Never get involved with magic. And 2, if you must, do not enter a competition to win the biggest magical fortune in England. 3, and definitely don't fall for Callan Hawthorne, the sexy billionaire mage, I think that's how you say it, who you've hated for years. So, how the heck do I end up in a situation that promises to break all those rules? It's the only way to save seaside spells, my family's magical potion shop, but it's cool. When I go back home to Charming Cove, a village of ancient pubs and foul-mouthed familiars, I will totally ignore Witch Weekly's Sexiest Man of the Year. I'll win the competition, and if I'm lucky, I won't turn myself into a toad in the process. That'll be fine. It'll all be fine, right? The Modern Girl's Guide to Magic is a fun, light, romantic comedy full of laughter, love, and magical hijinks. It's the first in the series of a standalone romance set in the seaside village of Charming Cove. So this one sounds really good. It is magical. There's a small town, and this is a series. I've decided I'm not gonna read any of the second books in this weekly vlog, so I can't handle that. So maybe I'll get to it next year. Maybe I'll just read it next month when I'm feeling a witchy like book. But there are 3 books in this series. When I did my October TBR, I thought there was 2, and I thought I would get to the second one. Who knows? If I really like it, I might. It just won't be in this reading vlog. But that is the 3rd book, so let's start reading that one. Hello, so it's update time again. I just finished The Modern Girl's Guide to Magic by Lindsay Hall, and I literally just finished it, as you can see by my top and what's behind me. I just got back from the Eras Tour movie. I went to go watch it, and as soon as I got back, I had 5 chapters left of this, and I decided to finish it off. It was quite the quick read. I really enjoyed this magical witchy book. It was pretty good. I gave it a 3-star on Goodreads, but I'm rating it a 3.5. This book was pretty good. It had a lot of magical fun. It was just your typical witchy romance. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just flowed really easily. I probably finished it in a day, a little bit more than a day, as I was doing other stuff. So the book takes place in a magical like seaside town. So Arya, the female main character, she moves to London, and she's from like this small town called Charming Cove. I love the name, and I think it's near Cornwall, which I think is a real place in English. Don't quote me. Never been. Really would like to go one day, and I'll probably like fact check myself if I ever do go. But she moves back to her small seaside town, which I love the setting. Just the best. And she needs to like go to this garden place where she needs to like be in a magical competition, and it's so fun. And then she has a rival, and it's like a little bit enemies to lovers, because she like doesn't like him at first because he did something horrible to her in the past, and it's one of those. But of course, you know where the things lead. Honestly, if you've read a romance book, you know what happens. And it was really cute, a cute read. I did like the story. It was fun. Gave it a 3.5 stars, and now I can move on to my next read. So that was the third book that I read in this witchy reading vlog. Book number 4 is book number 3. Technically, I think you understand it by now. So this is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Howley. I hope I'm saying it right. And this one, love the cover. Love all these covers, and they're just so fun. So let's read the synopsis on the back. Marielle Spark is prophesied to be the most powerful witch seen in centuries of the famed Spark family. But to the displeasure of her mother, she prefers baking to brewing potions and gardening to casting hexes. When a spell to summon flower goes very wrong, Marielle finds herself staring down a demon, one she inadvertently summoned for a soul bargain. Osroth the Ruthless is a legend among demons. Powerful and merciless, he drives hard bargains to collect mortal souls. But his reputation has suffered ever since a bargain went awry. If he can strike one with Marielle, he will earn back his deadly reputation. Osroth can't leave Marielle's side until they complete a bargain, which she refuses to do. Turns out some humans are attached to their souls. But the witch is funny and curvy and disgustingly yet endearingly cheerful. Becoming awkward roommates quickly escalates when Marielle, terrified to confess the inadvertent summoning to her mother, blurts out that she's dating Osroth. As Osroth and Marielle struggle with their opposing goals and maintaining a fake relationship, real attraction blooms between them. Osroth has a limited amount of time to strike the deal, and if Marielle gives up her soul, she'll lose all her emotions, including love, which will only spell disaster for the both. And that one sounds really fun. I mean, I've been saying it for all of these, but I bought these for a reason, right? So a demon and a witch, that's fun. And it's like fake dating and like forced proximity, and they don't like each other, but they'll probably fall for each other. Perfect book, perfect book. So I can't wait to read it. Let's get on and start this one. Hello, I'm here with another book update, and the book we're going to talk about today is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. This is the latest read. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Quite enjoyed this book. It was really fun to read. So the last 2 books back to back, they focused on nature magic. So both of them like had garden magic, or like they can do stuff with plants. So their witchy powers, they had like control over plants, so that was fun. I read that back to back. Marielle Sparks comes from a very famous, like notorious, like witchy family, so she has like high expectations to live up to, and she feels like she's not very good. Her mother puts so much pressure on her to be the best witch she'll ever be, so she practices hard. Like you see her trying to practice and like get manifestation to work, and she just cannot summon anything too good or vanish anything very good. So one day she summons a demon. Which name is Ozarth, and he is like ruthless. He's called Ozarth the Ruthless for nothing. He was like a very like high in demand demon who used to like harvest souls and whatever else demons do. Of course, they don't like each other at first because like she's so annoyed with him that she just accidentally did it and she's like trying to send him away. But once you summon a demon, you have to make the bargain with them. So yeah, he just tries to get her to like do the deal, like, here, give me your soul and like I'll give you whatever you want. So what do you want? Like, he'll make a joke out of it and it's really fun. I love both of them so much, and it was just such a cute like witchy story. Out of all the ones that I've read so far, this is so cute. I loved it. This is the most memorable. So far this is my favorite, hands down. Love Oz and Marielle, and I love that there is a like half Filipino American social media influencer in this book. So that's fun, being half American and half Filipino. I love the representation for me. So yeah, really love this book. I gave it 4 stars, and now we move on to the next book, but it's hard to top this one. This one so far is gonna be my favorite. Let's see by the end of this video like what my ranking is for all these witch books that I'm reading. Moving on to book number 5, which was the last book in the categories. So let's read this one. This one is Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Asher, and it is the second book in the Supernatural series, I believe. So I read book 1 last year in the last witchy reading vlog, and I really liked that one. So hopefully this one lives up to it. It's about triplets, and this is probably about the other triplets. So yeah, it's probably going to be 3 books because there's triplets. So let's read the synopsis on the back and see if I'm right. For her entire life, Rose Maxwell has trained to become the next prima on the Supernatural Council. But now that she's stepped down from consideration, it's time for this witch to focus on herself and not to think about her impulsive one-night stand with Damian Adams, a half-demon veterinarian that she can't get out of her head. Neither of them is looking for a relationship. But when Rose is sentenced to community service at Damian's animal sanctuary, it becomes impossible for them to ignore their sparking attraction. A friends with benefits, no feelings, no string attached works perfectly for them both. After holding a sequence of dead-end jobs, Rose tangos with 2 snarky demons and thinks she's finally found her path. However, this puts Damian back on the periphery of a world he thought he had left behind. He doesn't approve of Rose becoming a hunter, but if there's one thing he's learned about the stubborn witch, it's that telling her not to do something is a surefire way to make sure she does. Working and sleeping with Rose awakens feelings Damian never knew he had, and that he shouldn't have, because thanks to his ex's hex, if he falls in love, he'll lose not only his heart, but also his humanity. Really cool. I think I remember Rose from the first one. It's been a year since I read the first book of this, so honestly I have no recollection of like most of the plot, but this one sounds interesting. A half-demon veterinarian. Cool, so it's friends with benefits. Let's start reading this book, shall we? Hello friends, it is another book update time, and I just got done finishing Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Asher, so let's talk about it. Right off the bat, I'm giving this a 3 stars. Maybe I should give it like a 2.75. I didn't enjoy it, unfortunately. I had to push through. I liked the first one, and then I kind of read the first one back and I didn't love it as much this year, so I think it's just the timing of it all, and the last book gave me a reading slump because that one was just so good, and then this one just fell flat for me. There was nothing wrong with it. I did enjoy the characters, the story. I mean, it was something that I thought I would like enjoy because it had like a half demon veterinarian and then a witch, and I was like, that sounds amazing, but I just pushed through it. I got done with it and I'm like, thank goodness I finished it. So yeah, overall, I don't know. I don't know why I dislike this. Maybe it was just everything going on right now. It wasn't the book's fault. It's probably my fault. So maybe if I reread this again in the future, I'll like it better. Who knows? Just I'm reading like so many books at once. So maybe that's a problem. Who knows? But yep, there we go. Next book done off the TBR. Then we have the sixth and second to the last book that I'm reading, Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. And I was supposed to read this last year. It was in the TBR, but I never got to it. Let's see if I can get to it this year. So let's read the synopsis of this book and see what it's about. Emmy Harlow is a witch, but not a very powerful one, in part because she hasn't been home to the magical town of Thistle Grove in years. Her self-imposed exile has a lot to do with a complicated family history and a desire to forge her own way in the world, and only the very teeniest bit to do with Gareth Blackmore, heir to the most powerful magical family in town, and casual breaker of hearts and destroyer of dreams. But when a spellcasting tournament for which her family serves as arbiters approaches, it turns the pull of the tradition of the truly impressive parental guilt trip that comes with it is strong enough to bring Emmy back. She's determined to do her familial duty, spend some quality time with her best friend Lyndon Thorne, and then get back to her real life in Chicago. On her first night home, Emmy runs into Talia Avermov, an all-around badass, adept in the darker magical arts, and is fresh off a bad breakup with Gareth Blackmore. Talia had let herself be charmed, only to discover that Gareth was also seeing Lyndon unbeknownst to either of them. And now she and Lyndon want revenge. Only one question stands: is Emmy in? But most concerning of all, why can't Emmy stop thinking about the terrifying, component, devastatingly gorgeous, wickedly charming Talia Avermov? This one sounds interesting. So does that mean it's both females? So it's a sapphic love story? I thought that was like what Cackle was last year, but it wasn't. But I don't care. This sounds interesting. She goes back to her small witchy town, which I love these small witchy towns and their names. What was the other one? Charming Cove, and this one's now Thistle Grove. Such fun names. So yeah, I can't wait to read this. This is like 4 books, so I'm definitely not going to get through all 4 books, but I'm gonna start the series finally. I said that last year, gonna do it this year, so finally let's read Payback's a Witch. Hello, it's another update time, and we're going to talk about, this is the second to last book, I believe, which is Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. This was pretty good. I gave it a 3.5 stars, 3 stars on Goodreads, because I don't really round up. I do round up in my personal ratings, if you didn't know by now. I really enjoyed this, so I jumped into the first book in a Thistle Grove series, I believe is this what it's called, and it has 3 other books, which I'm not going to read. Hopefully I can pick them up next year. I don't think I'm going to pick them up anytime that isn't spooky season. I don't know, it's just a me thing. I really enjoyed the storyline, and it didn't have like as much as romance as I thought it was. It was a pretty good book. I did enjoy reading it. It was another witch story. This one had revenge in it. I do love a good revenge story and like all the magical elements, and I just love seeing witches grow in power and like harness their power, and all these books seem to have like a common theme where they're not very good, or they lose their magic, or their magic is weakening and then they like get it back and like do all that fun stuff. I did enjoy this book. It was a great read. Hopefully I'll pick up the series once again next year, because I really enjoyed it, and I love saying Thistle Grove. It was so fun to like read in my head and everything. The characters, I can't wait to see more and get back into this universe. So now that I finished this, I am moving on to my last book, which I'm really super excited to read. The last book in this witchy rom-com reading vlog is The Witch Haven by Sasha Payton Smith. It's another book that was supposed to be on my radar last year. I bought it, I was gonna read it, never read it. So this year we're gonna read it. I just got the second book to this series in the mail. I think it's 2 parts. I don't know if I'm going to get to the second book. I'm definitely not going to read it in this reading vlog, like I said, but I might read it in my own time if I really love the first one to continue the series. So let's read the back of this book. Hax Haven Academy, Rules for Young Witches. 1. Mind your instructors. 2. No unsupervised spell work. 3. Don't leave after dark. In 1911 New York City, 17-year-old Frances Hollowell spends her days as a seamstress, mourning the mysterious death of her brother months prior. Everything changes when she's attacked and a man ends up dead at her feet, her scissors in his neck, and she can't explain how they got there. Before she can be condemned as a murderess, 2 cape-wearing nurses arrive to inform her she is deathly ill and ordered to report to Haven Sanitarium. But Frances finds Haven isn't a sanitarium at all. It's a school for witches. Within Haven's glittering walls, Frances finds the sisterhood she craves, but the headmistress warns Frances that magic is dangerous. Frances has no interest in the small, safe magic of her school, as instead enchanted by Finn, a boy with magic himself who appears in her dreams and tells her he can teach her all she's been craving to learn. Lessons that may bring her closer to discovering what truly happened to her brother. Frances's newfound power attracts the attention of the leader of an ancient order who yearns for magical control of Manhattan, and who will stop at nothing to have Frances by his side. Frances must ultimately choose what matters more: justice for her murdered brother and her growing feelings for Finn, or the safety of her city and fellow witches. What price would she pay for power, and what if the truth is more terrible than she ever imagined? That synopsis sounded interesting, so I wish I could have picked this up last year. It kind of reminds me of Divine Rivals a little bit, just a teeny bit. Like, it has an essence there, you know? I might be completely wrong, but since I just got finished with that book, it's all I think about, and it's become my personality, so I'm like, yeah, this book I think will help like solve that feeling, and hopefully it gives me the same like vibes, because reading that gives me that. Who knows, I might be wrong. You'll just have to hear about it once I talk to you about it. So let's start off with that book. Hello, it is update time once again, and the last update for this witchy reading vlog. So I just finished the Witch Haven, like literally about 10 minutes ago. Finished this book. It took me longer than expected, not to read this book, to read all of the books. I overestimated myself thinking I could read one of these in like a day, but I didn't. Some of them were like 2 to 3 days. So this reading vlog took me a little more than a week. But I'm here to discuss this book, and this book was amazing. I gave it 4 stars. It was a favorite of mine. After I get done with this update, I totally have to rank all of these witchy books that I read, but this one was so good. So Frances Hollowell, she is a witch and she finds out, and it's just so magical, and I loved like the mystery of this, and like who done it. It had one of those, and I really want to read the second book now. I might continue it in November, and like her discovering her powers, and it was such a good read. And I said that it kind of reminded me of Divine Rivals. I mean, it's a little bit more magical and thing, but it has those vibes, and those are the vibes that I was looking for, thank goodness. So love this book, can't wait to read the second, and 4 stars. Definitely it deserved a good rating, and I don't know how I stumbled upon this book, but I'm so glad I did, because this was such a good read, and I love that my most anticipated was last, and it lived up to the hype. I was really excited to read it, got to read it, and yeah, I loved it. So that is it for my reading update. So there you have it. That was my witchy rom-com TBR. I'm not sure if I read all of them yet, because I'm filming this out of order. So you already watched the whole reading vlog, and this is just me wrapping it up, showing you the TBR. So now I guess we can just wrap up and talk more about what I thought about these witchy rom-com books, shall we? And just like that, we are magically in the future, 1.5 weeks to be exact. Unfortunately, I did not succeed and read a book a day in this reading vlog, but I did accomplish all the books that I wanted to read on my TBR. I pushed through and I managed to finish all 7 books that were on my TBR for this week. They are right beside me, thought we would wrap it up, tell you my favorites, even though I just talked you through them. I'm gonna give the ranking of each one. Here are the 7 of the witchy rom-coms that I read. Man, that was hard to say, but here we are. They are in order, and I'm going to tell you from first to last. I think I can rank them. I did love these, but I love some of them a little bit more. So this is my ranking for this year's witchy reading vlog. This feels mean, but I'm going to start off with the ones that I least liked all the way up to the ones that I liked the most. And then I don't want to say in bottom place or in last place because that sounds wrong, but that's what it is. So the one that I liked the least goes to Not Your Ex's Hexes. Next we have Payback's a Witch. After that we have What You Gonna Do. Then we have The Modern's Girl Guide to Magic. And here we have The Witch Haven. I guess in second place we have A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. And then the one that I enjoyed the most is What the Heck. These were my top 3. I enjoyed them the most and I really had fun reading them. Honorable mention though was this one, my Kindle read, The Modern Girl Guide to Magic. So I did love all of the books, but these 4 stood out. I love them the most. I recommend you check out all of them, but I really liked these 3/4. So that is this year's witchy reading vlog. I do hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm gonna do this next year. Maybe I will, because I still have so many on my TBR, and as I said, for some reason October is the only time that I can read these kind of books. So yeah, maybe there'll be a part 3 next year with even more books. So I do hope you come back for that and make this a yearly tradition with me. I sure do love having traditions here on my YouTube channel, so stick around for more videos like this and more of my traditions here on my YouTube channel. I will make sure to link my Goodreads as well as everything that I mentioned in this video, all the books, all the accessories, what I'm wearing. Also, if you want to check out any of my social medias, I have Book Talk and I have Bookstagram. Those are linked down below as well. And there you have it. That is it for this year's witchy rom-com reading vlog. I do hope you enjoyed watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye everyone!